Chilling tales of a woman's experience with the supernatural. Chapter 1. The First Signs. It started as a whisper in the night. Emma had always been skeptical of the supernatural. A woman of logic and reason, she dismissed ghost stories as figments of overactive imaginations. But something changed when she moved into the old Victorian house at the end of Sycamore Lane. It was supposed to be her fresh start, a place of solace after a difficult breakup. Yet, from the moment she stepped through the antique wooden doors, an inexplicable sense of unease washed over her. The house was beautiful, with intricate carvings on the stair banister, high ceilings, and chandeliers that glittered like fallen stars. But there was something else, something hidden beneath the surface. The first night was uneventful, but on the second she heard it. A soft, almost imperceptible whisper. It wasn't the wind, nor was it the old pipes groaning with age. It was a voice, faint, distant, but unmistakable. Emma tried to brush it off. Old houses make noise, she told herself, willing her heartbeat to steady, but deep down she knew this was different. The whisper wasn't just a sound, it was a presence. It felt as though someone, or something, was watching her. Chapter 2. The Unseen Presence. The whispers grew louder over the next few days. Emma tried to convince herself it was her imagination, but the unease in her chest refused to fade. Then came the shadows. One evening, while unpacking boxes in the living room, she noticed a movement in her peripheral vision. A shadowy figure flickered just beyond the reach of the light, vanishing the moment she turned her head. A trick of the eye, she reasoned. Nothing more. But as the days passed, the occurrences grew more frequent. Objects would be moved when she wasn't looking. The lights would flicker without reason. The air in certain rooms would turn icy cold, even when the windows were closed tight. One night, she awoke to the sound of soft weeping. It was distant, echoing as though carried through the walls. "Hello?" she called out, her voice barely above a whisper. The weeping stopped abruptly, and the silence that followed was far more terrifying. Chapter 3. A Glimpse into the Past. Determined to find answers, Emma began researching the history of the house. She visited the local archives, and what she discovered sent shivers down her spine. The house had belonged to the Blackwood family in the early 1900s. Tragedy had befallen them when their youngest daughter, Eleanor, had mysteriously disappeared one stormy night. Rumors spread that her spirit never left the house, lingering in search of something or someone. Armed with this new knowledge, Emma decided to reach out to the spirit. Maybe Eleanor had a message. Maybe she needed help. Chapter 4. The Spirit Responds. Emma set up a makeshift seance one stormy night. With only a candle for light, she sat at her dining table, hands trembling as she whispered, "Eleanor, are you here?" At first, there was nothing. Then, a sudden gust of wind blew through the room, snuffing out the candle. The temperature plummeted, and then the whispering returned, closer this time. A single word. "Help!" Chapter 5. The Haunting Intensifies. From that night forward, the activity in the house became unbearable. Doors slammed on their own. The television turned on at full volume in the middle of the night. Emma woke up to find scratches on her arms, though she had no recollection of how they got there. The final straw came when she saw Eleanor. It happened in the hallway, just past midnight. Emma turned, and there she was, a young girl in a tattered white dress, her eyes hollow, staring at her with a sorrow so deep it made Emma's chest ache. "What do you want?" she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. Eleanor raised a trembling hand and pointed toward the basement door. Chapter 6. The Basement Revelation. Terrified but determined, Emma grabbed a flashlight and made her way down the basement steps. The air grew heavier with each step, the scent of damp earth and something else, something rotten, filling her nostrils. At the bottom, she noticed loose floorboards. Her hands shook as she pried them open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside, wrapped in decayed fabric, was a collection of small bones. Eleanor had never left the house because she had never been allowed to. Chapter 7. Setting Eleanor Free. Emma contacted authorities and the remains were properly buried. The night after the burial, the house felt different, lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. The whispers stopped. The cold spots disappeared. And on her last night in the house, Emma had one final vision. Eleanor stood at the foot of her bed, smiling through translucent tears before vanishing into the morning light. Chapter 8. The Lingering Presence. Emma moved out soon after, but she never forgot Eleanor. Sometimes she swore she could still hear her laughter in the wind, a gentle reminder that though some spirits seek peace, others simply want to be remembered. But something wasn't right. Emma started to see things in the corners of her new apartment. Shadows that darted past her reflection in the mirror. Cold spots that formed without explanation. Had Eleanor truly found peace? Or had something darker latched onto Emma instead? Chapter 9. A New Beginning. Emma believed she had left the supernatural behind. However, strange occurrences began anew in her new home. Objects moved inexplicably, and faint whispers echoed in the night. Had Eleanor followed her, or had she inadvertently attracted something else? Determined to break the cycle, she sought out a spiritual medium, someone who could communicate with whatever force lingered around her. The session revealed a startling truth. Emma had become a beacon for lost spirits, forever intertwined with the supernatural realm. As she lay in bed that night, the familiar whisper returned, closer than ever before. Not alone. Chapter 10. The Shadowed Entity. Emma soon realized that something far more sinister had attached itself to her. The whispers turned into guttural growls. Her dreams were invaded by a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed, its hollow eyes watching her as she slept. Desperate, she turned to an old priest known for performing exorcisms. He warned her that once a door to the spirit world was opened, it was nearly impossible to close. The spirit that had followed her was no longer just Eleanor. It was something ancient, something that thrived on fear. The final confrontation was inevitable. One night, as Emma recited a protective prayer, the entity manifested before her, a mass of swirling darkness with red, glowing eyes. The room trembled and the walls cracked under the pressure of its presence. Emma fought against the suffocating dread, her voice shaking but unwavering. She had to make a choice. Would she fight for her soul, or would she surrender to the darkness that lurked just beyond her reach? Epilogue. The Aftermath. Emma's story doesn't end with the exorcism. Though the entity was banished, its presence left a permanent mark on her life. She now carries a small vial of holy water wherever she goes, and her nights are often plagued by restless dreams. But she has also found a new purpose. Emma now helps others who have experienced the supernatural, offering guidance and support to those who feel lost in the shadows. Her journey is a reminder that the line between the living and the dead is thinner than we think, and that some doors, once opened, can never fully be closed.